I saw Fantastic Four the other day, and it kind of gave me strong feelings, so I decided to make a video talking about it, and this is it. The Fantastic Four are Marvel's original superhero team, like even before the Avengers, and the Invisible Woman was actually the first woman superhero, although she was originally called the Invisible Girl. They probably changed that because it sounds a little less sexist that way. But despite these firsts, they've seemed to have trouble competing with the other Marvel characters, especially lately. As we all know, the archenemy of the Fantastic Four is Doctor Doom. And the issue with that is that Doctor Doom is more notable than all of the Fantastic Four combined. I mean, he was partially the inspiration for Darth Vader, I read. So you can't get more notable than that. He even has his own ride at Universal Studios called Doctor Doom's Fearfall. Meanwhile, there's barely any mention of the Fantastic Four. Part of the reason the Fantastic Four probably just isn't that notable is that they can't seem to make a good movie, and that includes this one, unfortunately. Even before the movie came out, there were some issues with fans because they were going to change Doctor Doom's name from Victor Von Doom to Victor Domashev. Which, why would they even do that? I understand that Von Doom is a really silly name, but it just kind of works in this case. And so fans were outraged and they had to reshoot scenes just to change his name back to Von Doom. There were a couple of minor nitpicky things about this movie that bothered me. For instance, the heroes are so young. Like, when I saw the trailers and I assumed they were about, 24, I was like, oh, that's kind of young for these heroes. But then when I saw the movie and realized that they're 19, that was a bit much for me. That's my age. That's like if I was a crazy nuclear Reed Richards scientist. It kind of made me feel inadequate. I know everybody likes to do this young heroes thing, but I think 19 is a little too young, especially in this case. Another thing that bothered me was that, this is like a really minor thing, but Reed had this teacher in 5th grade, and then somehow he was also the judge of a science fair when Reed was like a senior, and he was such an asshole for no reason. Like, Reed has these great teleporter ideas, and the guy's like, oh, that's not science, that's magic. How about you come back when you have a real career in mind? It's like, what is wrong with you? You're such a dick. What a horrible teacher. It just really bothered me. Also, the movie ends with them trying to figure out a name for the group, and they're just like, well, there's 4 of us, and we need a name now that we're a group. What should it be? And they, discuss all these stupid names that, the Human Torch and his Torchettes, or the Big Brain and his Brainettes, and then the Invisible Woman's like, or the Big Brain and her Brainettes. It's like, oh my god. And then the thing's like, ooh, blah, 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 fantastic. And Reed's like, say that again? And he's like, blah, 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 fantastic. And Reed's like, hey, guys, I got it. Wait for it. And then the credits roll and it says Fantastic Four. It's the cheesiest thing ever. I was just like... And those things are all annoying, but the real issue with the movie is how little time we actually get to see them use their powers, which is the reason we go to see this movie. Before going to see the movie, I looked at what the running time was, and it said 1 hour and 40 minutes. And I was like, oh, that's kind of short for a superhero movie, especially an origin story movie. But, well, we'll see what happens. And I was sitting there as they were building this teleporting machine and leading up to actually getting their powers, and there was just so much build-up, and build-up, and build-up, and build-up. I was like, are we going to actually get the powers anytime soon? I was okay with all this build-up, except that it's most of the movie. They don't actually get their powers until at least an hour in. I don't know the exact time, but it's got to be at least that much. And then, as soon as they get their powers, Reed flips out and runs away, and it just skips a year forward to where they've all been working with the military, except for Reed, who's on the run. So it's like, wait, we don't get to see them develop their powers at all? What's the point of an origin story if you're not really doing them learning how to use their new powers? I don't get it. And so the idea is that after this year, they're close to figuring out how to do the teleporter again, and so they're supposed to try to reverse the powers, and that's what Sue is rooting for because she wants everything to go back to normal, and Johnny's about to help out the army, and they've been using Ben Grimm as like a personal weapon this whole time. He's killed like 43 people, and she doesn't want Johnny to do that, so they're trying to reverse it. So they have to find Reed. So they track him down, and he's learned how to use his powers in interesting ways too. Like he can change his face, and so everybody hates Reed for running away. But they use him to crack the teleporting thing again, and so they go back into this alternate world where they first got their powers. And they bring back Doctor Doom. So now we finally have all four of the heroes together and the villain, but the movie's like already over, so you're like, oh, how are you going to fit in a whole plot line with Doctor Doom in this little bit of time? But that's the thing, is there barely is one. Doctor Doom goes around, he like epically kills everybody, like he can just blow people up, like with his, just like, he just can do that. And it's kind of awesome. I was like, oh shit, Doctor Doom is awesome. But then he goes and he teleports back to his dimension, and he's like, I'm going to destroy Earth so that my world can remain strong. And it's like, it doesn't even really make that much sense. But the thing is that, like, this is the whole time Doctor Doom is in the movie, so it almost doesn't feel like you can call him the movie's main villain. The villain is almost Tim Blake Nelson's character, who isn't the leader, because this isn't Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they never even got around to that. So the Fantastic Four go into the universe to battle Doctor Doom, and of course he beats them all up one by one. They're like, oh, oh, and Reed's like actually doing that, with, by the way, he's like, oh. And then finally he like is able to just overcome Doctor Doom's powers, and they free the others, and they all team up and beat Doctor Doom. And this whole action sequence lasts just like maybe 5 minutes. It's so brief. It's like all this build up for that little action. It's just so disappointing. You don't come to a superhero movie for that little action, you know? You want a lot of fights, and the final battle to last much longer than that. In the movie, they barely even call Doctor Doom Doctor Doom. Like, I don't think Victor Von Doom is technically a doctor in this version, but they do the classic thing that superhero movies do now, where they, like, jokingly say the villain's name. Like, early on in the movie, he's talking about Doom, and Stu's like, oh, Doctor Doom over here. It's like, oh! I don't understand why superhero movies these days hate to say the villain's name. Like in The Incredible Hulk, when Tim Blake Nelson's character is like, oh, it would create an abomination, but then they never call him the Abomination. It's like, why do you hate the name so much? But then, in the climax of the movie, Doctor Doom's like, there is no Victor, only Doom. It's like, is that a Ghostbusters reference? What? The trailer for the movie made it seem like there was a ton of action, and Doctor Doom came in early on, so they were fighting a whole bunch of time. Like, there was this scene where they dropped the thing from this airplane, and it was awesome. And I was like, oh, that's going to be so cool. But, like, half the stuff in the trailer is not in the movie, so it kind of feels like a ripoff. It's like Iron Man 3, where you think you're going to see Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, and he's just some stupid British actor. So then they've beaten Doctor Doom, and the four of them go to talk to the army, and basically are like, give us a space to work. And they're like, what if we say no? And they're basically like, we're gonna kill you, you bastards. And the army's like, okay. So they give them their own little headquarters, and everybody forgives Reed so quickly. It's like they were so pissed. They're like, I hate you, Reed. You're nothing to me. And then they're like, oh, we're cool again. The Thing and Reed they might be gay. I don't know. I was getting that vibe. But anyway, so everyone is cool now, and it's just so cheesy that they forgive him that quickly. There should have been more time where they were angry at him. Maybe if they had more Doctor Doom plot line, they could have gotten over that. But, oh well. That's why nobody liked that movie. It was just a missed opportunity and a lot of disappointment. To quote the Ember Island players from Book 3 of Avatar The Last Airbender. That wasn't a very good show, but the effects were decent. Hopefully, this movie can cause Marvel to acquire the Fantastic Four rights, just like they did with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because maybe we could get Doctor Doom as the villain of the Avengers 4, which would be awesome, obviously.